This is The Locker Room, where the coaches of Husson University talk sports.
Hello everyone, I'm your host Alyssa Thurlow, and this is The Locker Room, a show that introduces you to the coaches and athletes of Husson University. Our guests this week are Husson head field hockey coach Madeline Hoeppner and player Kayla Royer. All right, so first off, thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us.
All right, so can you give us a little bit of background about yourself for those that may not know a lot about you? Coach, we'll start with you.
All right, I'm originally from Western Massachusetts, moved up here about 2 years ago, and now have been coaching the field hockey and lacrosse team. It's having a good time.
About myself or like the team?
About yourself, yeah.
Well, I came here last year because I transferred from St. Joe's, and I don't know, I basically came more for like the program and what was offered, and field hockey was just a bonus.
So this is your second year at Husson, so what do you like about it here on campus?
I just love the atmosphere. It's, a small campus, small community, and everybody's very involved, and there's a big focus on academics, which I love, and everybody here is just all around good people.
So this is your second year as well, so what do you like about it here so far?
I like the atmosphere, I like the community, I like that like a lot of the not just like the field hockey team, but more so like all the other athletic teams are very like closely knit, like everyone knows everyone, so it kind of helps.
So you're a senior and you said you started at St. Joe's, so what made you want to come here to Husson?
The physical education program had a lot more for me to branch off into, and I kind of looked at like, yes, I feel like it was a bonus, but it was also very successful, so it kind of helped.
So how is Coach Hoeppner different from other coaches that you've had in your college career?
Skill, knowledge, and dedication for the game.
Nice. So, Coach, last season you were named Coach of the Year by your peers. So, as a first-year coach, what did that mean for you, and did that impact your coaching style this season?
I want to say not really, but I was very thankful for the opportunity, or just the award, I guess. How it affected me, I don't really think it affected me at all. So, but I don't know.
So, Kayla, from a player's perspective, how important is it to have a leader like Coach Hoeppner and guide you and mentor you to improve as not only an athlete but as a student too?
I think she really strives for academics. We have study hall, it's mandatory, but she really focuses on grades. If we have students with high GPAs, she'll kind of congratulate them in front of the team, so then everyone kind of has knowledge that it's not just the sport that we're here for, it's academics as well.
So, Coach, in your first season at the helm, Husson soared to a perfect 5-0 record in conference play, and you went to win the NAC Championship. So what allowed the Eagles to excel to such a high level?
Last year it really came down to our defense. Not allowing a goal in conference play is a great feat in itself. So this year, that was something that we knew we had to work on. Unfortunately, we couldn't keep it, the perfect 5-0. We had that one loss to Thomas. But I think it really came down to defense.
So this season you added 2 assistant coaches who were seniors last year, Annika Durrell and Alyssa Souza. So what was it like having them back as coaches this year?
They were actually part of that defensive unit, which was so successful the following year. So I thought, having them around would be good motivation for the girls, and they had the experience and the knowledge that they could pass on. I didn't know if you checked out, but our last two games, I think, involved 2 players that had never played back before. So having them there and, having Kayla there was a great role model for them.
So, Kayla, how did you react to having them back this year?
Having, the freshmen back?
The Annika and Melissa.
I thought it was very helpful, especially with, their knowledge and, kind of, how they understood the game, because I was with them last year, so we kind of both shared the same head of knowledge.
So as a defender, what kind of pointers did they give you this season?
Basically the same thing they said last year. Just kind of, don't give up on the ball. Just focus, composure.
So you had 19 players return this season. So what has been the biggest change from this year to last year?
That defensive unit is really it. And Kayla got hurt towards the end of the season, so that was another big shift. But, filling that gap between, that defensive unit was the biggest challenge we faced.
So what, if anything, surprised you about your team this season?
Just how strong the incoming freshmen were. I knew it was going to be a good group of girls, but they all challenged each other. They, some were able to be impact players right off the bat, and then others, they'd come off the bench and they'd still show you those skills that you wouldn't think that a rookie would have.
So, Kayla, were you surprised by any of the underclassmen or anyone show you anything that kind of surprised you over the season?
I think it more came towards the end of the season where like they had rules like fill from like she said, like I got hurt so I wasn't able to play, and I think they filled the roles like really well. Like I was impressed with how strong they came out.
So what was like the overall team chemistry like this season?
Well, our motto for the season was hungry, and still hungry. We wanted to score. We wanted to get another championship. So I think just a high energy. Practices were competitive. Girls were having fun. A little bit of cattiness, but girls will be girls. Competition.
So your season started off kind of shaky with a loss to UNE at home, and then you had 2 losses on the road. So what did you and the team take away from those 2 losses?
We're still very bitter about them because those were games we really thought we could have won and we should have won. If you look at the stats, you'll see that we outcornered, we outshot, not in Wellesley, but in the Gordon and UNE game. So, that was just something we carried on our backs for the rest of the season, saying, we've got to win, our out-of-conference games, which has been a challenge for us this year and was a challenge for us last year. So I guess that's really going to be our focus for next year.
You mentioned the loss to Wellesley, but so 2 of those seasons were to Gordon and Wellesley. So what are some of the strengths of playing some high-quality teams?
Getting the best level of competition that you can.
All right. So Kayla, compared to some of the teams that you've faced in playoffs, do you think that these teams kind of rank as the best that you have seen in your career?
Compared to the out-of-conference games?
Yeah.
I think each team is different. Each team has a skill that like some teams don't. Like some teams show like different things that other teams don't. But I think like skill-wise, I think we play tougher out-of-conference games, so we're prepared for the in-conference games.
So your first one of the season was at home versus St. Joe's. So what are some of the improvements you saw from the first 3 games to that one?
I think there was a lot more chemistry building in that game just because I was amped for that game. I was ready to win that game. I wanted that game, and I just kind of like I shared it with the team, and just like the motivation, like the thrive to win, is it's contagious.
Yeah. So what are some of the improvements you saw?
We had a hard time transferring towards the beginning of the season, so just finding that connection, working the ball around in the backfield. Then that's really just comes with confidence. So yes, the defensive unit wasn't there last year that would do that. So getting this team up to that level where they can be comfortable passing the ball around and working with each other and not afraid to take risks.
So sophomore Taylor Shaw has been an asset to your team this season. She had 10 goals this season, and 5 of them were against Colby Sawyer, which led you to the NAC Championship. So what have you seen in her game that has allowed her to have so much success?
It really comes with having a donut and a muffin for breakfast. Taylor's just a hard-working girl. She'll do anything she can for her team, and I think that really showed when it came down to the playoffs. Like, she made it happen for us, so can't ask for anything more from her.
Right. So what have you seen from Taylor kind of as a defender? Are you kind of surprised in her style of play?
As a forward?
Yeah.
I mean, she gets low and she gets her stick like on the ball, and that's kind of like all about being on defense. That's like the key to like success, and that's what she has, especially when she's tipping 5 goals in the net.
All right, we are going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we will take a closer look at some of the players on the team and what lies ahead for the Eagles next season. Stay tuned.
Cinderella found the pet that fits her perfectly. Tiana gave her pet the royal treatment. Belle found beauty where no one else did. And you can too. Share your heart. Share your love. Bring home your forever friend. Make a shelter pet part of your world. Happily Ever After begins at theshelterpetproject.org.
So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice. And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
We couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Good. Homemade noodles. Oh. Marty, stop it. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. It reminds me, I've been thinking maybe we should try a new form of birth control. I heard about this one. It's called the IUD, intrauterine device. Or we could try the patch on your arm. Actually, I think that one goes in your butt.
Bedsider.org has birth control information and a lot more. And it's...
What do you think, then? Arm or the butt?
Welcome back to the locker room. I'm your host, Alyssa Thurlow, and today we are pleased to be joined by Madeline Hoeppner, head coach of the field hockey team, and player Kayla Royer. All right, so we talked about sophomore Taylor Shaw. Libby Kane and Taylor Lovely have also been scoring contenders this year, and with them being seniors next season, what do you expect them to do? What kind of roles do you expect them to play?
Oh boy, I mean, anything can happen in less than a year, you know what I mean? But I think that what makes them, great players is they strive on competition, and together they have, a brutal competitive edge towards each other. Even though they play completely different positions. Libby's a midfielder and Lovely's been playing forward for the past 2 years. But anything can change. We may see Lovely in the midfield next year. Or, you may see Libby a little bit more on the forward line. I don't know. But I definitely can see that, they're going to continue to be offensive threats.
So you have 3 seniors this year, obviously Kayla being one. So can you talk a little bit about what you've seen from them in your 2 seasons here?
Yes. They both stepped up to their leadership roles this year. Kayla and Britt were named captains, and Olivia, even though she wasn't a captain, she still had a voice. She still was someone that the girls looked up to and still was a role model. So they're definitely going to be missed next year. But yeah.
So Kayla, with you being a defender, is there anyone that you've kind of taken under your wing this season to get them ready for next year?
Yeah, I think one of the freshmen I really took under my wing just because she's never had that position before and it was completely new to her. But she had the skill and she had the knowledge where all you kind of have to do is you guide them, tell them where they're supposed to be at what time, and then it just clicks.
So next season you'll have a bigger graduating class, as you had 10 juniors this season. Yes. So what are some things that you're kind of hoping to see from this particular class, and how did they kind of step up this year?
Well, I expect them all to be, good role models. I don't expect everybody to be harping on the new freshmen that come in. But, with their experience, I need them to share that. I need them to, carry on what this team is about. Because they're a great group of girls, and, that's what Husson Hockey's about. Even though they're going to be going, they still need to carry on that tradition.
Yeah. So not only were you guys successful on offense this season, but defensively you dominated as well. So all 3 of your goalkeepers were a part of your success. So what is it like having dependable goalkeepers in the net, and what are some things that we can kind of expect from them next season as well?
Well, I can say that they're not going to change. They're still going to be great goalkeepers. Deciding whether or not who plays and who doesn't play is really, who's been the most consistent during the week, because they all are so great, and each one has their own personal quirk that they're good at. Abby may be a little bit quicker on wet turf, Anne might be good at the high balls, and Kate can be good at tackling out. So it really kind of depends on the opponent and the consistency in practice.
All right. So Kayla, how much of it of a relief is it knowing, you being a defender, that you have a dependable goalkeeper back there?
It makes all the difference. It makes you stepping up to the ball, you defending the player that's coming down. It's just kind of you don't think, you just do it because you know that if it gets by you for any reason that it's not going in.
All right. So we mentioned earlier that you faced Colby Sawyer to get into the NAC Championship, where you defeated UMaine Farmington 2-0. So with the championship under your belt, did you feel any pressure to win another one coming into this season?
I'm going to say no, but there definitely is always pressure. I mean, you have to keep that competitive edge. I was actually very afraid of Thomas in the beginning of the season. I tried not to let the girls know that, but I knew that they, had some good recruits coming in. Even though we had beat them 7-1 the following, or 7-0 the first year, I knew that they were coming back for blood. It was going to be on our home turf. It was going to be our senior game. A lot of emotions, and lo and behold, they took us by surprise. And well, not me, but the girls.
So in that game, sophomore midfielder Michaela Toth was named Most Valuable Player. So what are some things you've seen from her this season, and what roles do you kind of expect her to play next season as well?
Nick is a very competitive player. She, voices her control on the field. You know, she gets back and plays defense. She's our fly or our left trail on corners. So, you know, she's a very versatile player. You know, she plays defense, she plays attack. First hitter on corners. I really don't expect her role to change. But, you know, she is the voice of the team.
So, Kayla, what is it like playing with Michaela?
I think this preseason, it really showed, like, it wasn't just me. Some of the goalkeepers said it too, that it just, like, it's all with, like, team chemistry. You flow with the player, you're going to flow with, the game's just going to flow so much better, where you don't really have to say where they have to be. They just know where they have to be, and you know they're going to be there. It's just the way you flow. So
what was it like having an NAC playoff game at home?
It's great. Love it. Couldn't ask for anything more.
What was it like for you playing at home?
I didn't play in the NAC, the NAC game, but it's great having, like, knowing, like, you deserve to be playing on your home field. Like, you're playing the championship on your field. It's kind of like a relief, because then you're not, like, accustomed to, like, everything that they have but what you have.
So after clinching the NAC Championship, you faced Keene State in the NCAA first round, which obviously ended your season after 1 goal.
Yes.
So can you talk a little bit about your game and what really did not go well?
Well, I think the whole day started off to a rough start. It was downpouring rain. We went over for our practice, and the field was so wet that the ball would start going, and then it would just slowly trickle, and we weren't even able to send passes to each other. So we didn't have a good practice, and you know, the girls were still amped for the game. They were ready. You know, that first 60 seconds, you know, they get a goal and you're fighting the rest of the game. So you could only fight for so long, and you know, have so many missed attempts that just wasn't our game, unfortunately.
So this was Husson's 5th appearance in the NCAA D3 Championship tournament in program history, and your 2nd consecutive. So what were some of the thoughts going into that game, and what does a big week look like preparing for a game that big?
It's kind of a short week, because we play our championship game on Saturday, give them the day off on Sunday, and then, you know, we're playing first rounds on Wednesday. So they really only have 1 day of prep, because Tuesday is basically a travel day, and we try to get in some corners. So having a road game for first round kind of, you know, it stinks. You know, if you're the home team, it's definitely your advantage, because you get to practice all day on Tuesday and really prepare. But you know, our goal was, you know, to try and win the first round, because that's never been done, and we're just going to carry that around until we can get it done.
Maybe next year.
Yes.
So Kayla, overall, how do you think the team matched up with Keene State?
I think it was really, like, back and forth. Like, they had their shots, we had our shots, and like she said, every team has their own game. It just wasn't ours.
So with 7 freshmen on the team this season, how much recruiting will you do in the off season, and how do you go about doing so?
I'm looking to bring in 5 for next year, and after that, again, another 5. Even though we're losing 10 or 9, I'm really trying not to make that big of class size anymore, just because, you know, it takes a big hit to the girls when, you know, okay, well, we lost 10 people, now we got to start from scratch. So that's why it is so important that the girls really, you know, share their knowledge and, you know, share their experiences, so the chemistry stays consistent.
All right. And what are your overall goals for next season?
Win NAC. 3-peat.
Kayla, what do you hope for the team next season?
I hope the same what they had this season, but more wins.
All right. Well, thank you both for coming on the show today. All right. When we come back, we'll recap Husson's Athletes of the Week, so don't go anywhere.
Right, mi cariño. So like I said, everything I learned about cooking, I learned from Grandma's empanadas. Shall we go again?
Yep.
Mix beef with the onions with the peppers with the paprika with the garlic with the oregano with the cumin. Got it?
Got it.
Throw on the olives, stir, season, stir again, pour out the flour, roll out the dough, make a circle, drop in a fistful of filling, fold over, press down, and ta-da!
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain.
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's not something you buy.
Or something you take.
In fact, there's only one way to get it.
It has to be given to you, freely.
It's consent.
Because sex without it isn't sex.
It's rape. Consent.
If you don't get it, you don't get it. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Welcome back to the Locker Room. I'm your host, Alyssa Thurlow, and before the break, we were pleased to be joined by Madeline Hoeppner, head coach of the field hockey team, and player Kayla Royer. We will now turn our attention to the Husson Athletes of the Week. We'd like to congratulate this week's Athletes of the Week, John Smith of the football team and Michaela Toff of the field hockey team. Congratulations to both of them, and good luck to all the teams this week. That's all the time we have for this episode of The Locker Room. We would like to thank Madeline Hoeppner and Kayla Royer for coming on the show today. You can follow The Locker Room on Twitter at lockerroom_TV. If you'd like to watch this episode or any previous episode again, go to our NESCom journalism channel on YouTube. You can catch the next edition of The Locker Room on Thursday, December 3rd. For everyone working hard behind the scenes, I'm Alyssa Thurlow, and have a great rest of your day.